Hey there guys, Wildways, what's up? So I just got back from the Warkhawk West game. Nitehawk was hosting it. I'm about to do a bit of an after-action report for y'all. Talk about some of the pros of the game, talk about some of the cons of the game. Spoiler alert, I think it went pretty dang good. So to start things out, finding out more information on the game itself was a little bit of a challenge. I think the field event organizers need to maybe work on that a bit. Basically, what it was I looked online and I couldn't find even my camo pattern, so I kind of had to ask around some comment sections. They told me what camo pattern I should be wearing. Didn't really matter too much though, because I kind of did the standard red-blue armband things, and I knew some guys that weren't even wearing the proper camo pattern. They were still able to play. So the premise itself of the game was pretty simple. Two teams start on opposite ends, both have a front line, and directly in the middle there is a center capture objective. Our team, the Rust 14, which is who I decided to play for, decided that we would go for that objective pretty early on, and we were able to capture it pretty early on, or at least it started out that way. Another thing about forest fire, there is a center town kind of fight zone that goes and fights against a sort of hill area, and that's typically where those front lines get drawn out, and that's where the initial front line roughly was for us. I think early on, NATO team might have pushed a little bit into that village, but they weren't able to gain much ground for long. We were able to quickly get that back. As the first game of the day progressed, we were able to push pretty far in. The objective kind of got pushed back by the refs. They'd occasionally set it to neutral, and they'd push it back closer to the enemy team. So in other words, our team, the Russian team, was doing very, very good, and we were able to take a lot of ground and a lot of points fairly early on into the match. Another balancing factor that the ref used was he had a sort of toxic gas, I guess, that he'd use whenever he'd have a yellow smoke grenade. He'd bring that by, people would be like, "You're out, you're out, you're out, you're in the gas, you're out," you know, which I guess is kind of a way to balance the game. I know that there's a lot of people that get kind of salty about that, and it's kind of a little bit of immersion breaking to have the ref be like, "You're out." The alternative, though, was that the enemy team would just get swamped. It's not really a fight for anyone, which is less fun for everyone. So I do understand and respect why that was happening. I do think they might have gotten a little overzealous with the placement of that center objective, because I think even towards the end of the first game there, it was nearly inside of the enemy team's spawn, or very close to it, which meant actually achieving and getting that objective for our team was next to impossible. The other thing, too, is that this game online advertised bringing out vehicles, and they definitely did have vehicles on the field. They brought those out during the second half of the game, at which point I was already pretty tired by that point, but I had prepared some launchable rounds specifically for that vehicle, and I'll go into how that worked in just a minute. The rule was if you could get a gas tank, bring it to the vehicle, then you could drive that vehicle around. It had a gunner on it. I think our team got a technical, which we never ended up using, but the enemy team got a full-blown tank without really a cannon, kind of like a machine gun on. So it kind of balanced itself out. You know, not one was that much better than the other. Those were really cool, seeing those kind of roll up on the field, especially the tank. It actually had like moving treads, kind of small from what you'd think of as a tank, but it did work out. It was actually kind of a bit of a fear moment when you heard it rolling up on the village, so that was pretty cool. And I had a launchable grenade printed out. I actually had a pure chalk tagging round. I launched that at the vehicle when I saw it for the first time. Unfortunately, I don't think the driver noticed. I struck it in like close to the tread, or maybe slightly above the tread. I don't think the driver noticed because nothing happened. So someone told me, they're like, "Yeah, try hitting it again." So I tried hitting it again. This time I loaded an explosive round. I put it right underneath the vehicle itself, so it was nice and loud as a big firecracker. And then the vehicle stopped and slowed for about 10-15 seconds. I don't know how long that's supposed to be, or if they can make it be faster somehow on the enemy team. And unfortunately, then the vehicle kind of kept going. And at that point, I didn't really want to keep shooting at it, because I talked to the ref, and we were like, "Hey, I think the vehicle's supposed to be down because we shot it twice." He was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll hop on the radio and talk to him." And the other thing that happened is he had a conversation with me. Part of the rounds that I had brought to the field with me that day were 3D printed using a 0.4 millimeter nozzle on my 3D printer. Super thin plastic. I don't think they're going to hurt anyone. They don't really have the mass to hurt anyone, but he asked me not to use them.
Wait, you're not Wild Waves.
I am Waves.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
I recognize that. We got to ban the 3D printed tagging rounds.
Oh, yeah?
I was using those, but they can shatter. If you print it out of TPU, I think, the rubber stuff, you can, but the other stuff can fragment. And
okay. Did someone get hurt?
Nobody got hurt.
Okay.
Just one of the refs picked one up.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think I know who's shooting these.
Okay, yeah.
I think he was fair in how he approached me with it. I think they are pretty safe to use. But if it's more of the idea of letting anyone launch anything through those tag and launchers, totally get it. I get that that's there. But I also kind of want to prove the safety of these 3D printed tag rounds. So I'm going to be making a video here. I've even talked with my wife about it, where I'm going to be shooting myself in the back with some of these 3D printed tag rounds because I believe they are safe. And if I have a massive welt and I am hurting the next day going into work, then that is all my fault. And at that point, too, the wind had kind of been taken out of my sails in terms of using the launcher, of going out and shooting at people. You know, I was kind of dehydrated. I was kind of getting gas at that point. And so eventually, after a while, I kind of ended up calling it for the day. So, big things that I liked at this game. Balancing of the teams, I thought that was massive. I think that it makes for a better gameplay experience. I liked the setup of the game. I thought having a movable respawn flag, which was another element that we could play with, was really nice. Bring that closer to the front line or further back, I think is really fun logistical piece of the game. But I do also think that if you're going to do that, there needs to be a way to destroy that. Like maybe a sneaky ghillie guy could come up and turn the flag upside down. Then we know, okay, if the flag's upside down, you can't use it as a spawn point anymore. Something like that, because we were able to get our spawn flag really, really close to those front lines. For both things I wish I would have seen at the Civil War Airsoft events that I had previously gone to. I thought that keeping the front lines similar to how they were the previous round was pretty good. Although when we came back from lunch, I think there needed to be like an alarm or a horn or something to say, hey, you guys are playing, because all of a sudden people started shooting and we didn't know what was going on. So kind of tuning that up a little bit, just a little bit on the management side, I think could help, making information a little more clear, a little more accessible to people. I think is a great idea. I got a full gameplay of the day coming up. It's kind of a little bit more of a dramatized version of it. I'm waiting to do some audio takes with my wife here. But yeah, that's been the After Action Report. Kind of casual, kind of talking through the game. Yeah, let me know what you guys think, and have a great day. Don't be a cheater, and that's all, folks.